It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, for I'd really like to stay.
Welcome to Ask Aunt Anne. It's a lovely day here, and I hope it's a lovely day where you are. I'm so excited about today's show. We have some great guests, we answer some really interesting questions from our viewers, and if that's not enough, we'll sing a few songs to get you in the holiday spirit. I just love holiday music, don't you? Let's go over to the kitchen. I'm expecting my best friend Betty Jean to stop by. She's going to help me answer one of our viewers' questions. Here she is now. Hi Betty Jean, how are you today?
Good morning, Anne. I'm doing wonderfully. How are you?
It's a great day, and it's even better now that you're here. I was so glad that you said you could come help me this morning. A task is always more enjoyable with a friend by your side. Now let's get to that letter. Mrs. Hillary Reynolds over in Lowell writes, Dear Aunt Anne, I am so excited. I am a newlywed, and my husband and I are having our very first party on New Year's Eve. We are only inviting 3 other couples, but I am not an experienced cook. I was hoping you could give me some pointers on how to have a successful party and maybe share a few simple recipes for appetizers. Thank you, and I love your show. Thank you, Hillary. That is so kind of you. Betty Jean and I understand. There was a time when we didn't know a lot about cooking either.
Oh my goodness, yes. I had problems making Jell-O when I was first married.
Yes, you did. The key is to start with simple recipes and work your way up. And one thing you can do is watch cooking shows and read recipes. There is a lot of knowledge out there, and cooks love to share.
And don't forget to ask other good cooks, too.
That's a great idea, Betty Jean. My mother and grandmother were great inspirations to me. I remember watching them cook all the time. And my Uncle Mike knew his way around a kitchen, too.
One of the things I like to do for my parties is to make everything ahead of time. That way, when the guests arrive, all I have to do is put out the food and drinks, or maybe pop something in the oven. Then I can enjoy the party, too.
That's an excellent point, Betty Jean. Remember the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, Susie. That's perfect for New Year's Eve, don't you think?
Perfect, Anne. The most important thing you can do at your party is have a great time. And sometimes it's nice to get your guests involved in the kitchen, too. Have them help you with some simple things, like filling the ice bucket or arranging crackers.
I have a really great recipe that even guests can help with. Delicious cucumber sandwiches. You only need a few ingredients. The first is 8 ounces of whipped cream cheese. And if you get the whipped kind, that will make your job so much easier. 1 package of dry Italian salad dressing mix. 1 loaf of cocktail rye bread, that's a 1-pound loaf. And 1 cucumber, thinly sliced. I prefer the seedless variety. Now, in a small bowl, you want to mix the cream cheese and the salad dressing mix. And then you can just pop it into the refrigerator until you're ready to make the sandwiches. That will really let the flavors mingle. Perfect, thank you. And then, once you have it refrigerated, just be sure to take it out when you're ready to make the sandwiches so that it warms up a little bit to make it easier to spread. And then what we'll do is spread a little bit on each slice of bread. Oh, thank you. And then we'll cut the cucumber into nice thin slices, and with the seedless varieties, you don't even have to worry about those pesky old seeds. And then we'll just put one slice right on each piece of bread. And then I like to top it off with a little bit, just a sprinkle of dill. And it looks so pretty and it's just delicious. It makes it so fresh. And that's it. You have one appetizer down.
I really like this recipe, Ann. I use it all the time. It's so fresh tasting, and cucumbers are always in season these days. What's your formula for how many appetizers to make and how many of each? That can be tricky. You don't want to run out, but you don't want to make too many either.
Great question. There is a little bit of math involved. Now, if you're expecting fewer than 12 guests, like our viewer, I would suggest having at least 3 or 4 different types of appetizers. And as to how much, well, that depends on whether the party will be followed by dinner or not. It sounds like Hillary's party won't have dinner, so I would have 4 different kinds of appetizers for sure, and figure about 5 to 6 pieces per person per hour. That's where the math comes in.
So if there are 8 people, that comes out to about 40 to 48 pieces per hour. That wasn't too hard to figure out.
Absolutely. Another quick recipe I like to use is fondue.
Now, Ann, I don't want to contradict you, but fondue can be really difficult.
Well, you're right, it can be, but I have a really easy version. Just get a half-pound piece of brie cheese and put it into a 500-degree oven for about 4 or 5 minutes. Make sure it's on a baking dish. Take it out when it starts to melt and then put it on a heat-proof surface and serve with toasted baguette slices, walnut bread, or sliced fruit like apples or pears. It's just delicious.
Oh, you're making me hungry, Ann. What else do you suggest? There should be a flavor variety, right?
Definitely. I think that something crunchy is always nice. Chips are good, but if you want something a little more special, consider a spicy nut mix. I have a great recipe posted on my website, askauntAnn.com. That's askauntAnn.com.
What about something sweet? I have a sweet tooth. I can't have a party without serving dessert. Since this is Hillary's first party, she may want to impress her guests by serving chocolate bruschetta.
Oh, that sounds amazing. But is it simple?
It is, Ann. Just take French bread, bittersweet chocolate, a little coarse sea salt, and some orange rind. That's all the ingredients. Preheat the broiler, and while it's warming up, cut the bread into 10 slices on the diagonal. It's nicer looking.
Details like that can make or break a dish.
Absolutely. Now put the bread on a baking sheet and broil on each side 3 minutes or until toasted. Take the bread from the oven and reduce the oven to 350 degrees. Now take the chocolate that you previously chopped, that's about a cup, and sprinkle about 1½ tablespoons on each slice. Bake about 5 minutes or until the chocolate melts. When they're out of the oven, sprinkle with salt and garnish with orange rind. Fresh orange rind is best. Serve warm, it's so good.
Oh, what a great way to end the evening. Chocolate and champagne. We may have to make these recipes for our party, Betty Jean. Another tip, Hillary, is to use KISS to think about your decorations too. A pretty tablecloth on the buffet table, some fresh flowers or a flowering plant as a centerpiece, and some nice party plates and napkins are really all that's needed. Keep a color palette in mind. Blue and silver are always nice. And identify a style, sophisticated, casual, or eclectic. Those are the key elements.
Well, that was fun. Do you have time to work on our songs for the community concert?
I do. Why don't you go into the living room and practice yours while I clean up in here?
Okay,
Our
very
favorite piano player just happens to be waiting for
good.
you.
Oh, thanks, Ann. Hi, Lee. Can we work on my number now? Here comes Susie Snowflake dressed in a snow white gown. Tap, tap, tapping at your window pane. Susie's come to town. you want to take a sleigh ride, whoosh, the ride's on me. Here comes Susie Snowflake, look at her tumbling down. Bringing joy to every girl and boy, Susie's back in town. Here comes Susie Snowflake, dressed in a snow white gown. Bringing joy to every girl and boy, Susie's back in town. If you want to make a snowman, I'll help you make one, 1, 2, 3. Then to finish off your snowman, whoosh! Look at her tumbling down, bringing joy to every girl and boy. Susie's come to town. Susie's come to town. Thanks, Lee. Anne, I'm speechless.
Oh, I think everyone should tap dance. It's so much fun and it's great exercise. You two keep practicing. I'm expecting a guest. We have another viewer letter to answer. This one is from Nanette Farley in Waterloo. Nanette writes, "Dear Aunt Anne, please help. My sister married a great guy in June, and I drew his name for the holiday gift exchange this year. I have 6 sisters, and I have no idea what a young man would like. Any ideas?" Well, that's a tough one, Nanette. I've found that when I can't think of a gift for someone, I ask my friends, or, in this case, my neighbor. Well, I'll bet that's him right now. Come on in, the door is open.
Hi, Anne. It's a great day, isn't it? Oh, I had that list you asked for.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy. Everyone, I'd like you to meet my new neighbor, Jimmy. He moved in right next door just a couple of months ago. Are you enjoying the neighborhood?
I am, Anne. I felt so welcome here, and I've got some really great neighbors.
Oh, well, let's get to that list. Let's see, a big screen TV. I don't think Nanette wants to spend that much. An in-bed toolbox for truck. That might be kind of hard to wrap. A Kindle Fire. Books related to personal hobbies and interests like woodworking or photography. The entire Clint Eastwood movie collection. And tickets for a VIP tour of a local brewery. Oh, that's a great list, Jimmy. Nanette, I hope that helps. And don't forget to make the wrapping special. Jimmy, can you stay and help me demonstrate a really creative way to wrap that special gift?
I'd love to, Anne. Where do we start?
Well, the first thing we need is imagination. Think beyond the purchased wrapping paper and ribbon. I like to recycle things to use as wrapping paper. One of my favorites is wallpaper, but you can use other things too, like sheet music, newspaper, or even last year's map. I have a couple of gifts right here. Jimmy, you wrap this one, and I'll wrap this one. Now first, we need to make sure that our piece of paper is big enough to fit the package. You've wrapped a gift before, right?
Sure.
Okay, so just make sure that we've got enough to go around. We're just going to do a basic wrapping, and then I'll show you how to add some creative touches. Here's some tape. Well, that's an interesting way to fold it over. Do you know how to do the side folds?
Sort of.
Okay. Just follow what I'm doing. Bring in the sides. Yep, and then fold up the edge. That's perfect. And tape.
Mine's not quite as pretty as yours, Ann.
Well, that's all right. You probably haven't wrapped as many gifts as I have. And then do the same thing on the other side.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, that looks great to start. And now I've got some special touches that we're going to use for toppers. I'm going to give this to you. We're going to put a fan right on top of here.
That looks fancy.
Can you hold that right there?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to put the string right around and bring it back up. There we go. And then I'm just going to stick a little piece of adhesive to the fan here. Fold it together, and you've got a gorgeous little topper. Just like that. That's all there is to it.
Well, that was easier than I thought.
And there are lots of other things you can use to put a gift in too. Clay pots, cloth shopping bags, towels, tablecloths, and even old glass food jars. And it's always nice to add a festive topper, like a homemade cookie, a dried fruit slice, pine cones, or a pine branch. Just have fun with it.
I've always dreaded the wrapping of gifts, but this year I think I'll have a different attitude. And I think I know where I can go if I get stuck.
What's going on in there, Ann? Are you coming back to practice?
I'm sorry, Betty Jean. I'll be right there. Thank you, Jimmy, for staying and helping me today.
Happy to do. Well, it's time for me to head home. Oh, look. Wow, it's snowing. Oh, and it's coming down pretty hard.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Well, I hope you don't have any place you have to be.
Nope, I'm free the rest of the day.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you'll really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm.
The fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you'll really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm.
The fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
That was just great, you two. I think we should add that number to the show.
Thanks. Jimmy, are you interested?
Very.
Well, that's wonderful. This is going to be the best show ever. Lee, can we go over the finale now?
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year.
I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. And when you walk down the street,
Say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet.
oh, ho, the waits for you. Kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year. Oh ho, the mistletoe up where you can see, somebody waits for you. Kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
It really is the best time of the year. Let's toast to friends, family, and good fortune. Thank you all for joining us for our special holiday show. And as always, I would like to leave you with a special poem. This one is called At Christmas by Edgar Guest. A man is at his finest towards the finish of the year. He is almost what he should be when the Christmas season is here. Then he's thinking more of others than he's thought the months before. And the laughter of his children is a joy worth toiling for. He is less a selfish creature than at any other time. When the Christmas spirit rules him, he comes close to the sublime. Man is ever in a struggle, and he's oft misunderstood. There are days the worst that's in him is the master of the good. But at Christmas, kindness rules him, and he puts himself aside, and his petty hates are vanquished, and his heart is opened wide. Oh, I don't know how to say it, but somehow it seems to me that at Christmas, man is almost what God sent him here to be. Merry Christmas.
It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, for I'd really like to stay. It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say.